Could we stand? Right, good morning, boys and girls. Mr. Symes, Mr. Symes, Mr. Williams, and our executive, and all the boys and girls watching in their classrooms. You may be seated. Thank you. Right, boys and girls, we have an assembly. It's actually quite strange, I must say, to be back in our hall again with an assembly, even though it is under strange conditions. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much to the grade 7s this morning who are representing the whole school as we come to celebrate, but also pay tribute to a very special man who's been an integral part of all of our lives. And boys and girls, this morning we are doing an official farewell as our prep school to Mr. Symes as he heads to his retirement. And Mr. Symes, we want to welcome you especially this morning. I know this is your school, it will always be your school, but this morning I want you to sit and just hear what the children have to say about you, and just enjoy a last time where the kids can present some items for you as well. But before we get into that, I'm going to invite Mr. Wagner, who's going to come this morning and share a devotion with us. Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
Good morning, everyone. Last week I asked the grade 6s to help me with an investigation on Moses, and we discovered a few very interesting facts about Moses. Moses was a 1.8 meter tall, which is exactly the same height as me. He was an extremely humble man, but he was also short-tempered. He was very shy, and the people say he lacked confidence. Moses himself said in the Bible that he was a poor speaker, that he was slow and hesitant when he had to speak. We think he possibly had a stutter. We all know that Moses loved and trusted the Lord with his whole heart. And we also know that Moses was the man that led the Israelite slaves through the desert for 40 years to the promised land. But there's something else I want to focus on today. I want to focus on the not so nice stuff that Moses had to deal with. And that was all the moaning and groaning that he had to endure for many, many years from thousands and thousands of people while he was in the desert. I can just imagine the people saying, "Oh, Moses, it's so hot. Moses, I cannot stand the cold at night. Moses, I'm hungry." And I think the best one of all, "Moses, when will we eventually arrive in the promised land?" So it must have been extremely difficult for Moses. One day, his father-in-law, his name was Jethro, came to visit him. And he saw that Moses was really struggling. There was queues and queues of people, thousands of them, standing, waiting to speak to him. I think mostly they were complaining. And Jethro saw all of this, and he decided to give him advice. The advice he gave him was, "Moses, find people that you can trust and people that are honest, and appoint them as officials to help you cope with this." You know what? Moses listened. The result of this was that every day, when people came to moan, he had two officials to help him, and the people went home satisfied. The issues got resolved. They went home happy. And this is where I have to acknowledge Mr. Symes. I want to thank Mr. Symes for all the hard work he put in, for his diligence, but mostly I want to thank him and congratulate him on appointing the right people at school. Making sure that he makes the right decisions and gives the right advice with the help of his support team. And because of this, Mr Symes, I think all of us, the admin staff, the ground staff, the teachers, the parents, the learners, all of us could go home every night satisfied. So thank you, Mr Symes. I would like you to close your eyes for prayer. Dear Lord Jesus, please help us to surround ourselves with the right people, to surround ourselves with people that we can trust and that are honest. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wagner, and a very appropriate passage of scripture that you read and the story that you spoke about, because often, Mr. Symes, I would hear you saying that your staff would hold your hands up. Now, I don't know if you know, there's a story in the Bible where Moses and the Israelites were fighting against some of their enemies, and they were losing, but every time Moses raised his hands like this, then the Israelite army would win. And the problem was that Moses' arm, you try to hold your arms up like that for a whole battle, his arms started getting tired, and they would sink, and then the army would start losing. So Moses had people come around him and actually hold his arms up for him. And Mr. Symes used to often say that, listen, when we used to compliment him and say he was doing good things, he said, no, it's just because you as a staff are holding my arms up. But Mr. Symes, I want to say to you, it's been an absolute privilege standing next to you holding your arms up. And I want to say to you, I think there's been many times where most of us have been hanging off your arms and you're still holding us up. So, yeah, a lovely analogy. Thank you very much, Mr. Wagner. We're in for a little treat now. I'm going to invite Mia. Mia Ryan is going to be coming up, and Abigail Latour is going to assist her. They're going to be performing a little number for you, Mr. Symes. Thank you, Mia. The boys are setting up, just help them, please. Thank you so much, Mia. And And Mr. Symes, I'm sure you'd agree with me that it's been a long time since we've actually heard some beautiful music filling this hall. And I hope it's not going to be much longer before we can have our choirs singing and children singing and playing music. But thank you, Leah, that was beautiful. Really, really lovely. I'm now going to call upon our head prefects, Charlotte and Daniel, to come and offer an address for Mr. Symes. Charlotte, if you'll speak up first, followed by Daniel.
Good morning, Mr. Symes, teachers, and pupils. Imagine a very nervous little 10-year-old girl arriving at Glenwood House School for the very first time. Everything was different. Nothing felt familiar. Getting out of my mom's car, I couldn't help but stare at the spectacular face brick and stone-clad school building. Wow, I thought. Walking into the building, trying to find my way to my first assembly, I noticed this gigantic figure of a man with grey hair, a smart suit with a tie. My initial reaction of turning around and running back to my mom's car was soon to overcome when the man smiled at me in a way that immediately made me feel welcome and at home. During the welcoming at assembly, the same man, Mr. Symes, addressed the new students. He instructed us all to report to his office after assembly for us to receive an injection, which would replace our normal red blood to the blue blood. He further explained that this blue blood was required to truly be a part of Glenwood. Still a bit confused at the time, I don't really think I understood what he meant. Mr. Symes has been instrumental in the building of this beautiful school from its humble beginnings, from nothing but a potato shed 15 years ago. How privileged are we to be able to learn in such a beautiful building, positioned with such a stunning view of the Outeniqua Mountains? More importantly, however, Mr. Symes instilled the Glenwoodian culture of excellence within the pupils and staff. Somehow, I think it has something to do with that blue blood he was talking about in the first assembly. Words such as Christianity, pride, family, kindness, inspiration, and achievement comes to mind. Mr. Symes, you are an exceptional leader of the school, and we appreciate the massive contribution you have made. We are all sure that your chest fills with pride when you reflect on the powerhouse that Glenwood is today. You certainly need big shoes to fill. Thank you.
Good morning, teachers and pupils. Most importantly, good morning, Mr. Symes. For me, today signifies the end of an era, with the beginning of a new chapter, as we shall farewell to Mr. Symes. When I think of you, sir, as our headmaster, I think of these characteristics. They are leadership, respect, discipline, wisdom, and finally, excellence. Mr. Symes, you resemble all of these characteristics, and more. Your leadership has been the building block of our school, and also the foundation of my future, alongside many other Glenwoodians. You've led by example for the past 15 years. Your wisdom, sir, has kept our school on track and safe, even through these crazy COVID months. You always show huge amounts of respect for others, but let's not forget, you can also be a real prankster sometimes. On behalf of the prep school and my entire family, I'd like to thank you, sir, for the many hours, days, months, and years you have sacrificed and dedicated to making our school what it is. You've been my headmaster for a decade, and under your leadership, our school has only grown from strength to strength in that time. Our school wouldn't be where it is today without your vision, guidance, and decision. Mr. Symes, you've been a phenomenal headmaster, and you deserve to take a restful break before you venture into whatever is next. We pray your blessings and good things ahead for you and your family. You'll be greatly missed and remembered. And lastly, Mr. Symes, thanks to you, I've been a true and beautiful leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I'm now going to call on Jake Rogers and Carla Hamilton, as well as Jared Painter, Ia Puze, and Maxine Rodriguez, who are going to present two little poems to Mr. Symes.
Our first poem is called I Don't Want to Go to School by Glenwood House.
I don't want to go to school today, Mum. I don't feel like schoolwork today. Oh, please don't make me go to school today, Mum. Oh, please, just let me stay home and play.
But you must go to school today, my cherub granddad. If you don't, it will be a disaster. How would they manage without you, my dear? And after all, you are the headmaster. Our second poem is called A Poem About School by Miss Lowe.
I don't want to go.
He said positively.
I'd rather stay home and eat ice cream instead. I can't stand the teachers, and the kids are bad. The kids are nasty and they make me feel sick. There's always some joke with a bag of tricks. I think I've learned all I ever need to know, so it really is fine. I don't need to go.
His wife rolled her eyes and she opened the door.
Oh, you're the headmaster. That's what you paid for.
Right, where's Bill? Now we're going to get down to real business. And I'm going to invite Mr. Symes Jr., so you can stay where you are, Mr. Symes Jr. to come up to the podium and to address the school. Will the school please stand for the entrance of Mr. Symes Jr.?
You may be seated. Good morning, Mr. Symes, Mr. Williams, Mr. McHale, teachers, and my fellow students. There's no doubt that Mr. Symes has given so much of his time and energy in order to establish Glenwood House as a unique and sought-after school in the Garden Route. Glenwood is now known and admired in South Africa and abroad. Most people in George say that they know Mr. Symes, but I just want to share and remind Mr. Symes today of some of the things that he likes to say and do that has really made him a legend at Glenwood. Did you know that Mr. Symes has never been seen running at school? Not even when Michael Carpenfuss took 7 wickets in 6 overs without conceding a run against Oak Hill. Mr. Symes attends every single meeting and has his finger on the pulse of everything at school. I think that he must be getting his energy from the Red Bull he buys in the mornings, from the shoulder watch and cry watch. He often walks around the school grounds. I found it extremely difficult to mimic his unique walking stride. The teachers, however, always give their best lessons when they see him walking down from the tuck shop with the Coke and packet of chips in his hand. Since male ego was established at the mall, he doesn't cut his hair or worse anymore. Speaking of hair, we have never seen Mr. Symes with a beard. Mr. Symes is most relaxed when he sits with his fingers interlocked on his lap under his tummy. Exhibit A. However, we have never seen him fall asleep at school. He just loves his Mercedes, but Quibus has to wash it every single week. Mr. Symes can be inconsiderate at times, especially when he is the last person to leave the rugby festival and someone, being Mr. Faulkner, has to then lock up the gully. Mr. Symes will not miss any sports event at Glenwood House. He's the only principal that I know that will watch a 50-over Saturday cricket league game from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. But he has never made his own cup of coffee at these events. However, he still comes to claim his juice and sweetie after the award ceremony. Mr. Symes repeats words or phrases when he speaks, but when he starts an announcement with, "Shucks, boys and girls," we all know that we've done something wrong. We're all thinking that there must be litter on the playground, or someone didn't stand up and greet a visitor, or the boys didn't cut their hair, or worse. Shucks, boys and girls, how could you lose against Oak Hill? He seemed to be in a bad mood after Mrs. Symes asked him to go on a diet. No meat and no wine. It was shortly after that he noticed he would sneak up on the learners and give them a huge fright.
Good morning, Mr. Symes.
His memory is also very short. He keeps on asking us what color our blood is, but I'm convinced he needs a hearing aid, since he does not seem to hear us when we respond. Grade 7 is the time that we should remind Mr. Symes one last time what color our blood is. So tell me, grade 7s, what color is your blood? I think you guys need to warm up. I'll come back to you later. You tell me, Mr. Owl, what color is your blood? What? You tell me, Mr. Symes, what color is your blood? Blue! Mr. Bouquet, did you hear that?
Very well. Most now I heard nothing.
Exactly. So, Mr. Symes, you tell me, what color is your blood? Blue! That's better. One last time, grade 7. What color is your blood? Blue! That's what I like to hear. Thank you, Mr. Symes. You really are a legend. Thank you.
Just a tongue-in-cheek, Mr. Symes, drop down memory lane. We're now going to invite you to the podium to perhaps share a few words with the prep school. Thank you, Mr. Symes. Let's give Mr. Symes a round of applause. Good morning, Mr. Williams. Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. And I know we might have one or two parents that are sitting at home and have also tuned in, but welcome to you as well. 16 years ago, I decided that I had enough of a place called Johannesburg, and I decided to semi-migrate to George, which in those days, boys and girls, was a big decision. It was a huge decision. It happened after I was approached by a group of businessmen in George and asked to start a private school, which I subsequently did. At the end of our first year, we had 52 students in the entire school. As somebody mentioned earlier, we were in the potato shed and in one or two little classrooms up on the field. And that was the entire school at the end of year 1. We're currently moving in the direction of 900. And I couldn't have done it without the teaching staff that I had appointed, without all the assistants, without the pupils that we had started enrolling. Because I need to say to you that we didn't accept all the students that applied, even from year 1. Yes, we needed those bums on seats, but we also needed it. We needed a special type of person to wear that blue blazer. Now, I had a definite vision for the school, and it has been mentioned previously by, like it was the head boy, it could have been the head girl, that the school would have to be a school that
has an overt Christian ethos, and they also respected other faiths. The school would have to offer an outstanding education, and it had to be an inclusive education. It would offer extramural activities at a very high level. All students would be respectful of all with whom they came into contact. They would have to wear the uniforms with patriotic pride. Those were non-negotiables. Now, I always knew that I would retire one day, and currently I'm actually 2 years past my retirement. And I'm happy to say, or I'm honored to say, that I think my vision has been achieved to a relative extent. I would not be telling the truth if I say that I would have preferred to ride into the sunset without the curse of the COVID pandemic still raging all over the world. Who would have thought that for almost 2 years, I would not be present next to the field, watching the warriors in blue, taking on the opponents, and in most cases, destroying them. I used to love that, by the way. I struggled for years and years to see the school hall become a reality, which it did. I just wish I could have been around to experience the production and other cultural performances that come with having your own school hall. Now, I know we still managed to run our cultural program, but having to go off campus to do that is not the same. It's not over. Yet we did it. We did it because of the passion and sacrifice which comes with wearing the blue. I'm going to miss all the activities that go with leading a school such as Glenwood. And here I'm talking about the pupils, those pupils that are sitting in the classrooms currently, that cannot sit inside the hall and share this with us face to face, physically. I will miss your passion and your compassion. It's so important, and those two go hand in hand. I will miss your commitment. The fact that you will go out there and give you everything. I will miss the respect you have for others and yourselves. I've always maintained that if you don't respect yourself, you cannot begin to respect others. I will miss seeing you bleed for the many causes at Glenwood. I will miss experiencing the loyalty you have for the school. And that needs to never end. Those smiles, that enthusiasm with which you greet a parent, that pride you have when you don that blazer, that blue blazer, it mustn't disappear. It is who you are. This school will eventually becomes your altar, your alma mater, your roots that need to be nurtured. I will miss the smiling faces of almost 900 of my Glenwood family greeting all around me so enthusiastically. Greeting the new parents, the prospective parents. I cannot tell you what a difference that greeting that parents, new parents, experience when they come to the school. I cannot tell you what that does. You guys are the biggest marketers at the school. Every single one of you. Most of all, I'm going to miss the kindness and the love that we have for each other. Be proud and be possessive of your school. It is your school. It is part of your identity. You need to love and cherish them. When you go to bed at night, and if your parents aren't listening to this or they haven't heard it, you need to do the following, and that needs to be a promise from you to me. When you go to bed at night, thank the Lord and your parents for the privilege of being able to attend a school such as Glenwood. You just have to look around and see what's going on around you. You see the state that a number of schools are in. That in the last 2 years, the majority of our schools have only been exposed to proper education with 50% of the normal teaching time. That is scary. You have had the privilege, because of your parents and the commitment to the school, to not miss a single day. And that is amazing. So well done. I think we need to say to your parents, you need to tell them at night or tonight, Mom, Dad, I love you. Thank you for the privilege that you have provided. Thank you for putting me in a school such as Glenwood. Then, thank the Lord also for the committed and caring teachers that you have. The teachers are also so much more to me than mere teachers. Teachers, you are my friends and my family. You've held my arms up in battle, and I thank you all for your love and support. My wife, you know who my wife is. My wife is a stunning lady that walks around, or that has walked around with the parents, new parents, the shoulder to cry on. The person that has had to put up with all my nonsense. And believe me, there's lots of that. Thank you for being part of my journey. Thanks. I wouldn't have done it without you. Lastly, I pray that God will bless Glenwood, her new headmaster, and all others who pass through her gates. I endorse, and I know I only have, I think it's 60, 70 odd pupils here currently, and they've made quite a noise. Now I'd like to see whether we can raise the roof on all these other buildings where the rest of you are sitting and listening. What color is your blood? What color is your blood? I don't hear a thing. What color is your blood? What is the name of your school? What color is your blood? What is the name of your school? Anything other part of the building. What is the name of your school? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid I've just disrupted your day. Last of all, I'd also just like to thank God, giving me the privilege of leading a school such as Glenwood. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Symes. For your touching words, and yeah, we really are going to miss you. I have a later opportunity to share more words with you, but our school has really seen you not as a headmaster, but as a father. And thank you for being the founding father of Glenwood House and for allowing all of us the privilege of being part of the special school that you built. I'm going to ask Juliet and Vanessa to come up. We just have a presentation from Mr. Symes. Thank you.
This morning, we'd like to present a special award, an award that's only made on very special occasions. And in fact, this morning we've decided to present 2 awards. I've only seen this award presented a couple of times while I've been at Glenwood. And I'm talking about the Headmasters Award. It's an award that isn't given very often. It's rare, and it's in fact a great compliment to receive this award. The Headmasters Award is more than just a prize or a medal. The winners of this award are distinguishable from others not by what they have done, but rather by how they have done it. And today's winners are definitely no exception. The first person we would like to make the Headmasters Award to this morning is Mr Symes. She is somebody who's often behind the scenes. She's the first person I met when I came to Glenwood. But Mr Symes, Debbie, to all of us, your warmth and your friendliness has touched all of our hearts here. You have been such a support to Mr Symes, but also to all of us, and we appreciate you so much. And so this morning, we'd like to give you the Headmasters Award. Have you ever received a Headmasters Award, Mrs. Symes? Never! I'm glad we could remedy that this morning. Thank you for everything you've done, Mrs. Symes. Now, somebody else is also getting the Headmasters Award this morning. From my earliest dealings with him, he had impressed me with his strong sense of self, character, and honesty. He carries himself with dignity and respect and embodies those values upon which the very foundations of our school are built. He is a true leader, not afraid to make decisions, even if they are unpopular, because he knows it must be done and because it is the right thing to do. But perhaps the thing that has impressed me most is the great way in which he has led our school for 15 years. He did what needed to be done, leading our school where it needed to go. His door was always open to staff and students alike. He has been an approachable principal, trying always to put the needs of others, of students and staff first. This is not only the mark of a great leader, the mark of a great human being. He has shown great commitment and has carried out his responsibilities and duties in an exemplary manner. He has lived his life in pursuit of excellence and has encouraged all around him to pursue excellence as well. Glenwood is the wonderful school that it is because of his effort over the years. We salute him today. We honor him. We appreciate him. We thank him. The winner of today's Headmasters Award is a model Glenwoodian, and we are proud to say that his blood is truly blue.